Are you a fan of comfort food with a gourmet twist? My juicy pork chops meet a flavor-packed mushroom sauce in a recipe that'll make your taste buds dance. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. Today, our celebration is all about pork. We're making pork chops with a mushroom sauce. Let's get started. Pork chops with mushrooms. What a great combination. But a lot of people, they don't really like to cook pork too much because they overcook it. They think you have to cook it to 160 or higher, and they end up with dried, tasteless pork. That's not the case. I have here in front of me two beautiful, very thick chops. We're just going to season these on both sides with salt and pepper. Up high, make it snow. And same thing with the pepper. And season this side. Now these can just sit and hang out for a few minutes. I have over here a nice big skillet. We're going to add some olive oil, just 2 tablespoons or so. Plain olive oil, not extra virgin. We're going to give this a moment and let it heat up and start to shimmer. We're going to add the chops. Now these are very thick. There we go. I'm going to cook them in the pan today. But if you wanted to, because they are so thick, you could just brown them on each side and finish them in the oven. Either way, what we're looking for is we want to cook them until they reach an internal temperature of 135 Fahrenheit, which is 57 Celsius. Now you may think that's really low, you may be a little worried. It'll be okay, just walk with me on this journey and I'll tell you why. All right, these are good. I'm going to cut the heat, take them out of this hot pan. Now these beautiful chops need to rest, so I'm going to put them here on this plate. I'm going to cover them with some foil. Now they're reading around 135. We want them to get up to 140, 145 at the most. Carryover cooking will do that. Let's put these aside. Now it's time to make the sauce. Now, you've probably seen a lot of recipes for a mushroom cream sauce. That's not what this is. This is going to be a little lighter, but just as delicious. And we're going to make the sauce in the same pan. We have all these brown bits on the bottom. That's called fond, and that's flavor. That's going to give us that deep flavor in this sauce. There is still a little bit of oil, and the chops release some of their fat, but I need a little bit more. But we don't want just regular oil. I'm going to use butter, just a tablespoon. This is just going to add flavor, and because there's already olive oil in here, it's going to keep the butter from burning and getting super brown on us. Let's add some mushrooms. I have here 10 ounces, which is 280 grams of sliced cremini mushrooms. You could use white button mushrooms, whatever you like. Right in our pan. I want to add some more flavors. Next up is shallot. Here's 1 large shallot that I finely diced. Shallot is a cross between garlic and onion. Next up is, of course, my favorite, garlic. I have 3 cloves here that I grated down on my little rasp grater. I love it, so I'm using 3. All right, I'm going to give this a stir. And we're just going to let these saute until the mushrooms release their liquid and then it mostly evaporates. It won't take long. You're probably noticing that I haven't added any salt or pepper yet. And that's because I seasoned the chops so well, there's still salt and pepper in the pan, like in the residue. So I don't know how much I'm going to need until we build the sauce a little more. We can adjust it later. All right, the mushrooms and shallots. The shallots have just disappeared. The mushrooms have given up most of their liquid. They're drying out nicely and all that flavor is there. Now, it's time to add a little kick. I have here 8 ounces, 240 mils of dry white wine. This is a Sauvignon Blanc from one of our favorite vineyards out on Long Island that I'll be drinking later. Right in. I want to add some stock, really bolster up that flavor. I have 12 ounces, 360 mils of chicken stock. This was homemade. You could also use beef stock if you didn't have chicken. And you can certainly use the can or box stock if you don't have homemade. Thyme is next. Just a few sprigs. This is maybe 3 sprigs here of fresh thyme, one of my favorites. Let's give this a little stir. I'm going to turn the heat up a bit. I want this to come to the boil and start to reduce. While it's doing that, I'm going to add one more little thing. Remember, these pork chops are resting. Some of their juices, even though they're resting, are on this plate. I want to add that flavor into the sauce. Let's hold that tight. Pour that into. Let's give it a stir. And we're just going to let this reduce. Our sauce is reduced down. Took 7 to 10 minutes in that area. I want to add one more little flavor. This just needs a little bit of acid. We're going to get that with 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Let's pour that in. And I'm going to fish out the thyme. It's given its all. Now is the time to taste this for seasoning. Remember, I didn't add any salt and pepper earlier, so this is when we're going to do that. I think it needs a little bit of both salt and pepper. Just a tiny bit. There was salt in the stock, there was salt on the meat, but just one last little bit. Now you notice, this is not a thick sauce like gravy because it's a sauce and not a gravy. Okay, now these pork chops are sitting here. I'm going to just place them back in this sauce, nestle them in there, maybe give them a flip so they get coated. Any of those juices that's left, if you had overcooked your pork, this would be the way to save it. Okay, I'm gonna let these sit and rest, soak up some of that flavor. I'm gonna clear the decks, and then it's tasting time. These have just been sitting for a couple minutes. I'm gonna pull one out. And now we can just spoon some of this right over the top. Let's get some of those mushrooms. And then that wonderful sauce. Beautiful. All right, my favorite time. Things I do for you, my viewers. Let's just have this little bit right there. Wow. The pork is perfectly cooked. It's tender. It's soaked up all those flavors. The mushrooms have that nice earthiness that match well with the pork. And then that sauce, it's bright, it's earthy, it's complex. This is the exact same wine that I put in this sauce. If you like this episode and hope you've learned something too, so do us a favor, sign up for our newsletter, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell, and you'll get a new episode every week. Now I'm going to go find a quiet little corner and eat my pork chop. While I do that, I want you to watch some of these episodes over here. So until next time, everyone, cheers.